Awesome. Thanks so much, Michelle, for that presentation. I'm next. Hi, everyone. My name's Hannah Murphy. I am a watershed planner scientist for Salt Lake County Watershed. I am going to talk to you guys today about bugs and pH and kind of their relationship and how they help us identify different water quality parameters. That's largely what I do for the watershed. I take water quality samples, I do restoration work, I look at bugs, I look at things in the environment and how they all affect our water quality. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is bugs. And specifically, we're going to be talking about macroinvertebrates. And if you break that word up into two separate parts, you have macro meaning big and invertebrate meaning without a spine. So we as humans have vertebrae, so we are not invertebrates. So these bugs don't have spines. And then when you think of the word macro too, while these bugs are very small, they can be seen largely under a microscope, which is why we call them macro. But these bugs are found all over streams and rivers, under rocks. They live in the water and they need the water to survive. And we look at all different kinds of these bugs to kind of tell what the water is doing, whether it's good or bad. We look at other water quality parameters, pH being one of them. And the importance of these bugs is a big one because they are what we call kind of the bottom of the food pyramid chain, if you want to call that kind of the, another way to think of it would be like a trophic web or the web of life. So these bugs provide food for other different animals and plants and parts of the ecosystem. For example, fish need these bugs to survive because this is what the fish eat. And then above fish, you have birds probably eat fish as well. So the bugs are really supporting the pyramid of life, or the food web that we like to call it. The other thing I want to talk to you guys about is the pH, and we'll get into pH in our experiment a little bit later, but pH is basically a range from 0 to 14, indicating how acidic or how basic water is. Water is generally neutral around 7, but a lot of different things factor a high or low pH. You guys should have a couple handouts with you in your groups. And the first one I want to talk about is our macroinvertebrate key. Looks like this. And I'm going to point out two bugs on here that we'll be talking about specifically. They are actually next to each other in this chart, the caddisfly and the mayfly. So even though these two bugs have similar characteristics, being 1 or 2 tails and without wings, they might not prefer the same kinds of water. And that's what our experiment is going to help us find out today. Like I said, there's hundreds of these bugs and they live under rocks, and we go out in the field and we are able to pick up these rocks and kind of kick up sediment and see what kinds of bugs are living there. Not only are they good for food and for other plants and animals, but they tell us a lot of different stuff about the water. The importance is really a diversity of bugs. We want to see a lot of different bugs because that's a good indication that it's a healthy ecosystem or a healthy stream. We don't want to see one of just one kind of bug or just one kind of plant or fish, etc., just like we would in other parts, or one animal. It's really important to have a diversity of different bugs in our streams. And we have all over the Salt Lake Valley, we have several watersheds that we survey and take water quality samples from. And we collect these bugs as well. And they really help us indicate what kinds of things are living there, whether the water is good or bad, etc. We will move on to the experiment portion of our presentation. And I'm going to turn the camera down for this, but I'm going to lay out everything too. And if you aren't able to catch up or I'm moving too fast, take your time. It's not a rush. You can also pause the video too. But I'll try and lay everything out and give you guys a good example of what we're going to work through. So while we're starting to set this up, I want you guys to be thinking about these two particular bugs, the caddisfly and the mayfly, what kinds of water might they prefer? Low pH could be a potential for the caddisfly, while mayflies might like a higher pH. It's really going to depend on the pH in the water to determine the bugs, and vice versa, sort of. They indicate what kinds of pH we have, and pH might be an indication of what kind of bugs we have, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'll tilt this down and we will start our pH experiment. So we should have some things in our groups, the first being 3 cups, and I'll set those here. We will also have our test tubes. We'll have one, I'm going to flip these around, we'll have one of lemon juice and one of laundry detergent. We'll also have a pipette, maybe 1 or 2. We will have a stirring stick, and we'll use that for the laundry detergent. We will also have some pH test strips, and there's 80 in that packet, so there should be plenty for the group. We will only need 3 for this experiment. Someone in the group may have grabbed water, or maybe your teacher provided some water for you. And then the last thing I want to point out before we start is let's take a look at this pH chart. So you should all have a copy of the pH chart as well. And like I said, it's a range from 0 to 14. Acidic, meaning a lower pH, would be on this left side. That would be anywhere from 0 to 7 is considered acidic. And then we have above that, above 7, we have alkaline, or what we call basic, and that runs anything from 7 to 14. And remember, water is neutral right in the middle around 7, or generally it should be. Again, think about what kinds of water, what kinds of pH and water this caddisfly and mayfly may like. We're going to get started with the experiment. The first thing you're going to do is grab some water, and you're going to fill each of the cups about half full, but definitely doesn't need to be any more than half full. So we have those about half full. I'm gonna pour a little, make it a little even. And the first thing we're going to do is take our lemon juice and put that in the cup on the left. And you can dump the whole test tube in there. And give that a stir. You can use the pipette as well if you prefer. The second cup we're going to leave blank because that's our water, and that's what we want to represent as neutral. So nothing will be done there. And then the third cup, we're going to dump all of the laundry detergent in it. And make sure you use the stick to scoop all the laundry detergent out. There's quite a bit in there. We want to make sure we get it all in there. And then we're going to give it a really good stir. The laundry detergent is concentrated, so we're going to really mix that one up. You can even make some bubbles. Yes, I know. We're not too old to make bubbles. Okay. A good stir. Okay, now that we have our 3 cups, we're going to do our pH test strips. And you can take 3 test strips out of the packet, and they kind of are stuck together, so just work to pull some apart. So here's a few. And you can actually just set a few in front of your cups for now. I'll set one here, and one here. Okay, so the first one we're going to do is the lemon juice. And you just want to stick it straight in and right back out. It'll be a quick sample. We'll set that in front of it to let it dry. The second one is our water, right? So we're just going to do a sample there as well. And then the third one we'll do with the laundry detergent. Set that there. And while those are drying, again, be thinking about what kinds of water or results we might get with our pH chart. And I'll let you guys in on a little secret now while we're waiting for the results. The caddisfly is generally going to like a low pH. Mayflies might be similar, but they might like something higher. While we're waiting for those to dry, I'm going to see if I can share a picture with you guys as well. I apologize, it's taking a minute. So this first picture is a caddisfly. And this is under a microscope. I want you guys to remind you guys of that. It's generally going to be small in size, but under a microscope, we can see a lot of different details. This second one is the mayfly larva. And these are different stages of life for the mayfly, but this is what it would look like under a microscope as well. So we have our test strips. This first one, the lemon juice, is very acidic, we can see. So it's probably ranging between a 2 and a 3. Our second one, the water, is probably about a 6 or a 7, which is good. We want it to be fairly neutral. Our laundry detergent, however, generally it should be around a 6 or a 7. It's kind of floating more on the acidic side. This could be for a few things. Some laundry detergents have less chemicals, so they might be on the acidic side, but generally laundry detergent would have an alkaline or basic pH. That concludes the experiment. If you guys have any additional questions, feel free to reach out. You would contact the Stormwater Coalition website, and that would be stormwatercoalition.org/fair regarding today's presentations. I just want to remind you guys again too, the importance of this water quality and the bugs and macros within the water quality is that it indicates what kinds of things we have in the water. Without the bugs, we wouldn't be able to tell a lot of stuff about what the water is doing or what kinds of things we have going on. And with that, I'd like to thank you all for joining the presentation, and I will turn the time over to Greta. Thank you so much, everyone.